Thank you. So I'm Luca Nussbaum, and I will talk about, I will reveal some Debian secrets today. So before I start, I just wanted to make a quick poll, show of hands. So who is in the room already contributing to Debian? Can you raise your hand? Okay. Who is already contributing to other free software projects other than Debian? Okay. And who is not contributing yet to any free software project? Okay. So actually, the starting point of the talk was a slide I stole from our current DPL, and also for the next 10 years probably, about decision making in Debian. And in this slide, he talked about how we combine do-ocracy and democracy inside Debian. And usually it's seen as a very positive thing, and I was wondering how it works in practice. And I'll try to see to give some examples of things that happen in Debian due to that. So I considered some alternative titles for the talk. The first one was what makes Debian so great, so unique, and so frustrating sometimes. And also some Debian patterns, because I think that's similar to design patterns. There are some things that happen all the time with, well, usually different persons, but that it's always the same pattern. So the goal is to tell you some things about the inner workings of Debian, of the dirty inner workings of Debian, to give some directions to prospective contributors, because some of the things that I will talk about today would probably be, I would have liked to know them a few years ago before I joined Debian. Would have helped me on many occasions. And just before I really start, I want to make it clear that this talk is not supposed to be a rant. So I have a Debian is magic slide, just to convince you that the goal is really to that Debian is to show that Debian is magic. So in Debian, you can work with great people. If you look at maintainers of most packages, they are mostly experts in the area of the package, working on a volunteer basis to improve something that is freely available for everybody. And if you look at it from a manager point of view, it really looks like a fantastic workforce of hundreds of highly qualified engineers. There's also a culture of technical excellence in Debian. Even if you are not contributing to Debian, just by subscribing to some list, you can learn lots of things just by following the traffic on the list. Like sometimes there are discussions on Debian Devel on something, and in 15 mails from different people that all know a lot about that field, you can learn a lot of things. Probably people would pay a lot to get the same reviews when asking consultants. There's also no boss in Debian. We have a DPL, which is there in the corner, but his role is yeah. Actually, he's filing my expulsion request right now. So the role of the DPL is mostly to push a vision. The real power that he has is quite limited, unfortunately. Well, or fortunately, it depends. And there's also, well, he pushes a vision, and there's no obligation to follow the vision. You are free to ignore the DPL to some point. There's a technical committee in Debian, but it's only used as a last resort option. I will talk about this later. It's also a very special organization, very large project with mostly people that are volunteers that are even not paid by someone else to work on Debian, that do that on their free time. And it's also an aggregation of a very large number of sub-projects that are packages or teams working on a set of packages. And sometimes teams have different goals, different agenda compared to the project, and that gives an interesting mix of problems. So this talk will mostly be on the organization, the consequences of that. So we'll first go back to do-ocracy to explain what's do-ocracy, and then go through some patterns that are often found in Debian. So first, do-ocracy. So do-ocracy means that those who do decide. So they can decide what they work on and also what they do not work on. And usually the problem is when there's someone, when that's A wants B to do something, but B disagrees and doesn't want to do that thing. And when someone is in the position to decide what he should do, it can only, well, there are some, it's a bit more complex than that, but let's simplify and say it can only be overruled by the technical committee, which is a long and difficult process. It usually takes months to get a decision from the technical committee. The technical committee rarely overrules the maintainer. So the technical committee is composed of, I'm not sure of the current number, of 8 DDs that are proposed by the DPL to the rest of the technical committee. Okay. So proposed jointly by the DPL and the chair of the technical committee. And the technical committee is mostly a way to get an external point of view on an issue rather than get a decision in days or even weeks. And there were no votes by the technical committee in 2010 and 2011. So one vote in 2012 on multi-arc and DPKG. So that vote was finished like 2 hours ago. It started 3 days ago, but discussing the slides with Zach yesterday, he told me, I don't really care about multi-arch, I just wanted to screw up your statistics. So, because Zach was the one who started the vote. So the first pattern I will discuss is benevolent dictators, but still dictators. So benevolent is well, if your native language is French, be careful. Benevolent has nothing to do with benevol. So it means who wants good. It's not. So I know that many people here speak French as a native language. I'm not sure if it's the same in Italian. No. Okay. Okay, so because benevol means volunteer, so it would be a completely wrong. So usually we have a maintainer who mostly works correctly, usually on his own with no team or co-maintenance. Or sometimes there's a team, but he insists on hacking all decisions. Well, this is completely an abstract example. And there's some areas of disagreement with other DDs. For example, design decisions or things not getting done quickly enough. Usually, when you have that pattern, in most cases, the big problem is that, this also applies to people saying that this package is not properly maintained in Debian. And there are some packages that are not perfectly maintained in Debian, usually people from the outside complaining. But in most cases, many people are complaining, or some people are complaining, but not offering help. And or the help that they propose could be worse. So the number of cases where, I mean, what they propose to do could degrade the situation. So if you run into that kind of situation, the really main advice is to keep things public. So use the BTS if you want to mail the maintainer to ask what's going on a specific problem. Always link CC the bug number. Stay civil, be patient. People are volunteers, so not answering an email in 1 week is normal, kind of normal. And focus on technical issues. Don't start getting personal with the maintainer. This also applies to ITPs, for example. So when you want to start to package something in Debian, you have to follow a process to open a bug against a specific pseudo package. And it sometimes happens that people say, I'd like to package this, and then disappear for months. If you want to help or package that thing yourself, it's really important that all the discussions are CC'd with the correct bug number. So other people see that you asked, nobody replied. If you do it privately, then there's no track and no way to know if you just asked once or several times. Also, focus on technical issues and offer solutions in terms of help or patches. So going further, so that was mostly about package maintainers. Going further, there are core teams in Debian that are for most of them, delegated by the DPL to work on key areas of the project. For example, the archive with a team called FTP Masters, the management of the testing suite, so that's the release team, or the Debian project machines, and that's Debian system administrators. Most of the time, fortunately, they take very good decisions, uncontroversial decisions, and everybody loves them. But sometimes we run into situations where their priorities differ from the rest of the projects. Like they want to push for a change, well, it's not really the best timing, for example. Usually when that happens, it results in huge flame wars. One famous example is announcement for the squeeze freeze. That was during DebConf 9. And the release team announced a freeze date a few months later, while most of the project wanted more time to finish preparing the squeeze release. So when that happens, usually it hurts the project very badly, because usually it ends up with one member of the core team resigning from the team or stopping to be active in Debian. And that's really hurtful for the project, because they are really key members of Debian. So as a consequence of that, core teams are usually given a lot of power in their area, much more than what the Constitution gives them. Usually what happens is that they not only control the technical and day-to-day activities of what they do, but they are also in the critical path for all changes in the organization of Debian that affect their daily work. So it's really well, they get a lot of power like that, and it happens from time to time that core teams are blocking decisions that are quite consensual just by not acting inside Debian, unfortunately. So another pattern is please send a patch. So as I said earlier, Do-ocracy is also about the freeness to decide what not to work on. And some things that happen quite frequently is that someone asks for reasonable change to something, and B replies, please send a patch. In some cases, it's a reasonable demand. For example, if the patch is about a feature that nobody else is interested in, but that could still go into the package, there's no point in A, package maintainer, for example, working on the feature. In some other cases, it's not so reasonable. For example, B could have run into a typo in a man page, and there's no point in not fixing that. And we often see that people ask for a patch like that, while it would probably take them. I think the goal should be to optimize the global workforce. I mean, what I mean by that is that if the package maintainer fixes a typo in a man page, it probably takes him or her 1 minute, like cd to write diff, fix the typo, commit, and it's done. If you ask for someone else to do it, you have to git clone, cd to find where the man page is in the package, find the commit, generate the patch, open a bug, attach, send the patch to the bug, etc. It's probably not doable in less than 10 minutes. And if you consider the global workforce of Debian, it would be much better if A fixed the typo instead of B. And sometimes, and many DDs are blocker in their area of expertise, so it's much better if B focuses on where he's an expert rather than A. So time spent on a patch for P1 may be better spent on improving what B usually works on. And it's really annoying when you see that. And it would be great if sometimes DDs could rephrase and just ask for filing a bug and maybe providing a patch. I think that would be a major improvement to how Debian works in general. So feel free to interrupt me if you want. I see people frowning a bit. Another pattern that is quite frequent in Debian is the fact that nobody feels empowered to do the work. So if you look at most teams in Debian, they don't have a strict hierarchy, and that's probably quite good. They don't have one person identified as the leader of the team. And the problem with that is sometimes the team leader doesn't know he's the team leader. So people work in the team, consider that someone else is the team leader, and that person might not be aware that people are waiting for his opinion on things. And then if that person could be blocking decisions just by not answering to a mail. And that happens very frequently. And so the solution to that are quite simple. First, if you start to suspect that you are becoming the team leader in a team, and even in general, it's important to give feedback when people are asking for it. Some people ask something on a list, ask, should I do that or shall I do that? And if they don't get a reply, they will never do it. So sometimes just answering, that sounds good, please do it. Even if it's not, if it's empty positive feedback, it's really important to tell people that yes, they should do it. And there are many times where situations are deadlocked because of that. The other solution to that is to consider that most of the things that we do in Debian can be simply reversed. So if you are quite convinced that this is the right way to do it, you could just do it. And sometimes that would also help a lot, just to move faster and consider that if someone is really unhappy about that, just do it. And it can be reversed. Another pattern is that, just checking something. In Debian, usually nobody wants to do the grunt work. So if you look at DDs, usually they are computer geeks, most of them. I don't think that's a big surprise. But we need other kind of geeks to run the project. For example, we need public communication geeks, we need accounting geeks, etc. And those are much harder to find than DDs. And for a long time, we really had lots of problems in all areas where that cannot be easily solved by computer geeks. So there are recent progress on that. First, last year we did a GR on Debian developers contributing non-packaging work to say that those DDs, well, those contributors are important as well and should be DDs as well. So you can become a Debian developer even if you don't package anything in Debian. GR is general resolution. So it's a vote by the project to decide something. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So the process is basically the same as for all DDs. So you need someone to advocate you, and then you run into a process where you have to answer questions about political aspects and organizational aspects of Debian. The difference is that the second part of the process, which is about technical things, can be removed. And then you get the status of Debian developer, official Debian developer, but you don't get the right to upload packages, which you probably don't need anyway. And one important point during the discussion about that general resolution was that such DDs are really normal Debian developers and should not be given another name. So they are not second-class citizens. The fact that they can't upload packages is just a small detail. And if they need it, they can always do the missing part of the process and then get the right to upload packages. But they get all the other rights of a DD. And the other recent progress is that we fixed the website, finally. So it's important to note, it proves that things are moving forward. So another pattern is over-optimized processes. So DDs tend to be a bit selfish and optimized for themselves. So they design really complex processes that make them be very efficient. That's probably not only DDs. Every computer geek tends to do that. The problem with that is that when you design such processes, other people have to use it, to use those processes to communicate with the team, for example. And usually it's not that easy for other people to use those processes, especially since usually in Debian, when we want to track questions or actions, we use the BTS for that. So how that works is that usually you file a bug with a specific format for in the title, so that the request is taken into account. So there's a list of such things for WNPP. So that's orphan packages and also new packages when you want to package something new in Debian. Packages removal, override changes, bin name use, and sponsorship requests. All of those now use bugs in the BTS. So does someone in the room know, without looking it up, the format of all those requests? Yeah, that's a good point. If you manage to set up report bug, I mean, you can use report. Does it work for sponsorship request?
Well, it
not yet.
1 week ago. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So if you set up report bugs, so you can file bugs locally from your machine. You can use report bug and file bugs for that. But there was also another. Yeah. So sponsorship request is when you want to maintain a package in Debian, but you are not, you don't have the right to upload that package either because you are not a Debian maintainer. So we have a status called Debian maintainer that gives package maintainers the right to upload just their packages. And we have then the Debian developer status where you can upload all packages. And if you want to upload a package but don't have the right to do it, you need someone to sponsor your upload. So the new process that you file a bug saying I'd like to upload that, someone reviews it and sponsors it. Okay. At some point in the past, we even had the idea of tracking patches with the BTS. So that was during the OpenSSL. After the OpenSSL, you all know about the OpenSSL problem in 2008 or 2007, I don't remember. We have never heard of the OpenSSL problem in Debian. Okay. One so so in 2008, there was a problem with the OpenSSL package in Debian where the package there was a modification made only in Debian that reduced the randomness of used by OpenSSL. So instead of generating a really large number of possible keys, you only add 32,000 different SSH keys, for example. So you could have collisions, and it was easy to generate them all and then use them to connect to a server. So the problem with that was the change was made by the maintainer. And probably, well, one of the reasons why it was made, it's a long story. There are many reasons why that happened, like OpenSSL has a mailing list named OpenSSL Dev, which is not a mailing list to contact the OpenSSL developers. It's a mailing list for OpenSSL, for developers of OpenSSL-based applications. So if you ask on that mailing list, you might not get the answer, a really expert answer. And well, the story is quite complicated, but one point that was made was that we are not really good at exposing the changes we make to packages. So many Debian packages are slightly modified in Debian, and we are not very good at showing to the world what we changed and why. So during those discussions, one point was that we could open one bug per patch and consider patches as bugs, and then discuss reason for the patch on the BTS. This was given up, and instead we now use we encourage the use of package formats that use separate files for each patch, And we have standardized headers in the patch so that we can describe what the patch does and why, which bug it fixed, etc. And we have also a website called patchtracker.debian.org where you can list all the patches for a given package. So, well, I'm just going on because I could talk for hours about that, but I'm going to be killed if I do that. So the main point I'd like to make is that when designing processes inside Debian that are going to be used by others, it's really important to think about entry barrier and documentation. I'm not really convinced about the sponsorship request process, for example. I think that adding the need to be able to configure report bug before you can, or to know the format might be a bit too hard. We'll see. So another pattern is bottom-up designs and adoption. So Debian is deeply decentralized in terms of teams. It's a partition of teams that work on different set of packages, for example, on the package maintenance level. And most innovations in Debian start in a scratch on each mode. That means that one team had a problem and tries to fix it. And then usually that innovation expands slowly to other teams and then at some point to the whole project. But that process can take a really long time. And so, sometimes between the time when something is first used inside one team and the time it's adopted by the whole project, there can be years. And so typical examples are Debian services. So for example, there's a service called PET, P-E-T, that makes it easy for a team to see the status of all packages in its SVN or Git repository. So it's a kind of dashboard of what's happening for each of its package. And that service was initially developed by the Perl team, I think. Is someone from the Perl team in the room? Was PET developed by the Perl team? Yeah, okay. And that service is in the process of being adopted by more and more teams, but it's not yet in a position to be used by everybody in the project, unfortunately. So we have a large number of standalone services that live in a corner. And then we have aggregators like the package tracking system, DDPO, and UDD. So does everybody knows PTS and DDPO? There's some, I think I've prepared that. So PTS is that page. So it's a source package-centric dashboard. So you get all the information about the source package in a single page, and with links to all the services that hold more precise data. And DDPO is that. So it's a maintainer-centric page where you have the list of packages that is maintained by someone, and then a table with bugs, a version, various suits, and stuff like that. So there are really the two key tools used by package maintainers. We also have UDD, which is a database aggregating data from all the services so you can combine data. For example, if you want to sort, you can get the list of RC bugs, sorting it by the priority of the package that are affected. That's something that you can only do using UDD. So the other consequence is that the fact that we have that decentralized and bottom-up designs is a really good way to encourage innovation, because it's really easy to start your own service, publish the data somewhere, and then get it adopted slowly by the community. And that's a key difference with what is done in Ubuntu, for example, with Launchpad, because nobody can make an unofficial service inside Launchpad. And if it's unofficial, it won't be leaked from Launchpad. Well, in Debian, it's really easy to just, I don't remember what's the name of the last service that was added to the PTS. There was, I don't remember, I think it was Ubuntu Diff, but Ubuntu Diff was a long time ago. But
Tracking release goals in the PTS?
Yeah, tracking release goals, for example, but I think there was something else, but never mind. So we have bottom-up designs for everything, also for packaging practices inside teams. And that's really funny, because we have many packaging teams in the order of hundreds of packaging teams. but not that many different needs. If you take a step back, we have some teams that maintain a few large packages, some teams that maintain many small packages, and that probably is a valid reason to have a different processes. We have some teams that want to use SVN, some that want to use Git, some that want to use Git and follow the upstream Git in the same Git repository. That could be a reason for differences in processes. And then we have some technical difference in how the packages are maintained, but those can probably be hidden inside the processes. And still, we have almost as many packaging workflows as teams. That's really surprising. So that generates a lot of suboptimal workflows. Some teams do things that way, and that's better than how the other teams do things. We have imprecise workflows, or poorly documented workflows. Teams that that do things one way, but don't really don't have the time to write a proper wiki page describing how they work. And the worst situation is when you work in several teams, because then you have to remember the different workflows in the various teams. So again, the important point is to think about entry barrier in documentation. And one idea I've been playing with is to start to have a standard workflow on which teams could then base their own workflow. For example, a workflow with several options. So that's that could be written by several teams. And then the Ruby team, for example, could say, we are following that workflow, doing it with option 2 for this and option 3 for this. So that's something that is a work in progress but stalled. So if you don't know what to do, contribute to that by pushing your team's workflow to that page. That's a good idea also because if that gets adopted, then you don't have to change your team workflow if you do it first. It's a good way to spare time later. So I don't know how much time I have. Not that much. Okay. So I just have a few slides on looking at changes in Debian over time, because that tells a lot about how Debian is working. So all the graphs are powered by, are generated using snapshot.debian.org, which is a really nice service. It contains all the data for all the Debian package that were uploaded at some point to Debian since 2005. So you can look at it and see how Debian changed over the years. So the first graph is about co-maintenance. So for all graph, the x-axis is time. So it starts in 2005 and ends beginning of February. And the y-axis is packages, number of packages for one specific thing. So that line there is the number of packages that are not co-maintained. Those lines are the number of packages that are co-maintained with one co-maintainer, two co-maintainers, etc. And that line there is the number of packages that are team maintained. So it's really impressive to see that soon we'll have more team maintained packages than packages. We probably already have more packages team maintained or co-maintained than not co-maintained packages, but soon we'll have more team maintained packages than not co-maintained packages. The other interesting thing is that that number is quite stable. So I'm not sure you can see the green, but there's a green line there that you might see or not. Yes. No, it's source packages. So that line is stable, which means that either non-co-maintained packages are being introduced as fast as they are being adopted by teams, or that they just they're just packages that never change, that are still the same state that they were in 2005. It's probably a mix of both. Sure, if I took percentages, of course it would go down. Sorry? Well, if you use collab maint, you would put the maintainer as in the maintainer and the co-maintainer in uploaders. So it's only looking at maintainer and uploaders and guessing whether there's a team in one of them. So yeah, not all packages in collab main are co-maintained. So this one is a bit complex, so I will try to give you the main idea. So those are package formats and patches. So way we so one problem we have in Debian that I just mentioned before is that we need to track changes made to the upstream version of the software, and we had several solutions to do that. So those are the those lines there. Yes. So those lines there are different solutions to manage patches inside package. And in 2010, we introduced a new package format called 3.0 Quilt, which is a blue line there. And this new package format includes patch management in the format. It's no longer a way that you add to your script. And it's really interesting to see that it's quickly becoming adopted in, with more. Well, it's now the most popular package format. 1.0, the red line there is going down, is the former package format. And the other interesting thing is that it's becoming adopted for packages that have local modification to the upstream source, but also for packages that don't have such modifications. So that line there is the number of packages that are not that don't have any modification to the upstream source, and it's also going down. So it means that people are adopting the new package format for other benefits, or just to standardize in a single package format, which is quite good. If you look at packaging helpers, we have debhelper there, DH in blue there, and CDBS in green there. So DH was introduced in 2008. So when DH, I consider DH to be the short Debian rules files with using the DH command. And it was introduced in 2008, and it's now the most popular packaging helper in Debian, which is also quite impressive. And it was done in slightly less than 4 years. So it takes time, but not that much time either. And CDBS is going down, so some people might be happy, some people might not be happy about that. I guess since it's going down, the majority of people are being happy about CDBS going down. Yeah. For VCSes, so there is a way when you package something in Debian to declare where to find the source for the source package. And by looking at that, you can see how many packages are maintained in SVN or Git or something else. All the lines at the bottom are other. No VCS is the red line there. SVN is that line, and Git is that line. So Git is now the most popular VCS solution in Debian. So that's not for upstream. That doesn't say anything about which VCS is used by upstream, only about which VCS is used inside Debian. Yeah, well, normally people, you have to look to find it somewhere. Well, it's probably the same reason, same in inertia as for other packages. And the archive itself is a quite good VCS. You can, if you just make small changes to a package, maybe the versioning provided by Debian is enough. But yes, maybe, well, no, it's not that the majority of packages have no VCS, because you would have to sum up all those to get the number of packages with a VCS. And so the other important thing is that SVN is going down. I think it's caused by the Perl team switching to Git. That makes a lot of packages switch from SVN to Git. Okay. So just before I conclude, I just wanted to say a few words about something I did last year. It's a Debian packaging tutorial. For those of you that don't contribute yet to Debian, it's a really good way to, I hope, to learn about Debian packaging. So it's available in the packaging tutorial package, and it takes about 3 to 4 hours to do completely with practical sessions. And it's now translated to French and Spanish. Well, I'm not sure about the Spanish translation yet. I hope the Spanish translator is not in the room. But at least I checked the French translation, it's perfect. Okay, so to conclude, so I talked about several patterns that are commonly found in Debian. And what's really interesting is that I think that most of those patterns are, well, some of them could be found from time to time in other free software projects, but they appear with a very high frequency in Debian because of all the specificities of Debian. And it's also one of the things that make Debian so interesting to work in such a project. So please join, and it's great fun. Thank you. Questions, comments? No. So I have the microphone, but I have no questions. So. Okay. Thank you.